you were to face the same situation today, how would you actually deal with it? When I just want to
situation I went through.
Yeah, how would you deal with it now, having all the knowledge that you know?
I'd find someone to talk to. I'd find someone to... Honestly, that year and a half, it was terrible, man. Because I honestly didn't have anyone to talk to. The thing is, the thing that depressed me the most was the fact that I had so many responsibilities that I didn't really have time to like feel what I needed to feel. So every time, like, okay, I'm alone now, I'm not doing anything. It's either my phone's gonna ring or someone's gonna come knocking on my door. You need this, you need that. I'm like, okay, turn it off again. That on and off thing, it was crazy. By the time I finally got to like feel everything, it was overwhelming because I was carrying so much, man. But the cool thing is, what did help me, what didn't drive me insane, like most people, like drive them into substances and stuff like that, was the fact that there was family around, like, extensive family, people you don't normally see. So, like, because they're family, they don't treat you like someone died. They're like, hey, long time no see, blah, 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 blah. Make jokes and whatnot. They don't treat you like someone died. So that helps, believe it or not. Because the problem with death is everyone treats it like death. Like, oh my God. Oh no. I'm so sorry. Do you know how many times you have to hear that until the burial? That's all you hear. As soon as someone enters the door, like, that's all you're hearing. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh no. They're going to try and reminisce about the person. Like, trust me, I have enough memories, okay? I don't need all that right now.
But also with the situation that I was telling you guys with a friend of mine, the one thing that peeved him off like the whole time was actually being asked about, "Are you okay?"
Oh my word. How can you be okay when someone just died?
Literally, I'm a guy. Imagine how inappropriate this. I had to squeeze his hand, bro. Like mid conversation, the man to have patience. Like you'd see that he wants to answer abruptly, but you have to calm him down. Because he mentioned like how many times was almost in a day,
It's so
in a week.
The culture needs to change, man. It honestly needs to change.
my sister died, and my elder sister, because there's three of us, so it's the middle child that died. So the eldest one was in Johannesburg, and I was at home with mom and my nieces. So I did not have time to cry. I did not have time to like wallow in my misery. My mom was crying, the children were crying, the neighbors were in the house crying. So I had to like step up to the plate, take the cell phone, make phone calls. Then I would not be like, okay, the person has died and wait for you to cry. The moment I'm done, I'm hanging up because I know you're going to wail. I don't have time for that. I have to move on to the other person so people can know what's going on. And in that moment, everything was just like, clustered in my head. And I had to be that way until my elder sister arrived from Joburg. And even then, I couldn't break down. I let my whole family break down. But I was still that one person who's like, you know what? Not yet, not yet. Wait for them. Wait. I had the funeral going on. I was literally everywhere. I was checking the day before the funeral. I was checking if the pastors were there for the whole like prayer that was going to happen. I was checking if we had enough biscuits, enough tea for everyone. Are people cooking? Is this happening? And even on the day of the funeral, I had to wake up early and check if everything was okay.
These are the things that
you're not in
really
that
tick me off.
mindset.
The fact that you're the one that lost, but you feel like you're taking care of strangers, like other people that are coming in, you're taking care of them. Like, come on, guys.
I had an exam. That was my second year in college. I had a language exam to write, and I had to study while there's people at my house day in, day out saying that I'm sorry, he's asking, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine. But behind that, I'm fine, is there's a lot going on. I'm like, yes, she died. Yes, this and this is going on. But guys, I have school. I have to go. I have to study and go write my exam. Like, the pressure that I was under. After the exam, I literally went to, like, the bathroom, and that's when I started, like, cracking and just crying. I was like, okay.
Why didn't you ask for an extension at school?
And that person was like, no extensions. I don't want that. When I tell myself I'm going to do something, I have to do it at that point in time. I can't just let it slide. So, because if I asked for an extension, I would not have been able to study properly for that thing. I'd be like, oh, I'd be so lazy because everyone wrote it and I was not under pressure now. So I'm going to go sit in an exam room alone. So I was like, I have to do it right now.
I think she used it as a coping mechanism, sort of sense. That keeping busy, because from the way that she speaks about it, was like she was avoiding. Actually.
Avoiding my feelings.
Yeah. She was literally avoiding it.
Because when they come, they're like, dude, we're right here.
Yeah.
We are right here. And they come and they hug you, and you want to give into that hug and just cry.
Yeah, that's what caused the depression with you, I think. Because you sat with that thing too long.
Every single day.
It festered.
But the thing that hurt me the most was having to tell my grandmother that her son's dead. Because no one, like the whole community was here when this whole thing happened, right? And everyone's like here. Like, mind you, this is like 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And eventually when he died, everyone just went emotional. Now, all the elders are around. Like, I'm like the youngest. And nobody wants to tell her. Everyone's like, yo, I can't tell her that her youngest child is dead. Yeah. Then I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Because she keeps asking, like, what's the situation? What's the situation? I looked at her. I said, listen, he's gone. What hit hard was the way she cried. Like, you get used to someone crying, right? But then there's a certain cry when someone loses a child, man. When she cried like that, that broke something in me. Although I couldn't cry at that moment because now I have to comfort her. But when I heard that cry, man, I knew, like, she's broken. Broken. Because she's lost people, but this is her child. And the last one. So I knew for a fact, like, she's not okay.
My mom told me, like a couple of months after the funeral, she's like, I will never be the same because as a parent, I'm not supposed to bury my child. My child is supposed to bury me. And there's a different kind of pain when you lose a child. Yeah. It doesn't matter if they were good or if they were bad. That person was inside of you for 9 months and you've had like a special bond. So when you lose that child, it's over. Your life and your will to live is just like dwindling. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah, my pastor told me you don't get over it, you just learn to live with the pain.
You're like on autopilot. And you have little things that trigger
in the
house. I remember because my sister passed away in April and her birthday was in June. And the day the birthday came, and my mom was like, mellow. And then I heard her crying. So now I'm like walking around in eggshells. But I'm like, okay, I still have to take care of me. I'm still here. I'm also going through stuff as she is going through stuff. This whole thing messes me up. And as Uzi said, you find a coping mechanism. When you're being busy and focusing on other things, it's because if I'm not busy and doing things, then I'm going to obviously go for like drugs. Because then school was like chillax because my modules were getting finished. Yeah. So I was like, oh, friends are going out. And that was me literally just giving up on everything. Just drinking. Day in, day out. I had a huge bottle of rum behind my bed. And I would like down it every night so I could actually sleep. And no one knew about this in my family. I smoked weed to a point where I was like, I'm done with my life. And no one knew. And I would hide it very well. And someone would ask me again, like, I am good, it's all done. But I'm dying inside. And I started getting sick, and that's when I started coming clean and telling my mom everything that was going on. Because in my head, I thought maybe it's because of the stuff that I'm doing that's making me sick. But then we found out, no, it's a genetic thing. But I was like, okay, I have to come clean. She can't lose another child. Because she almost lost this one in 1 year, like this other year. So she's like, I can't be going through this again and lose these 2 kids and be left with one. So I realized that by me using all these drugs and doing all these things and trying to cope with whatever I'm trying to cope with, whatever that's going on in my life, I'm killing myself, and instead of taking my mom's pain away, I'm giving her more pain. So I was like, okay, do not be selfish. And that's how I came out of it.